The tariffs just got worse for the market. Certainty is going down. We might even see a new low. Not yet, but very, very soon. With that being said, we did just have a 9-day win streak. That's the best that we've had since 2004. And it only happened 2 times out of 10 in bearish markets. So let's talk about some news, what is going on, and things to expect. I just want to say it took me years to become profitable and learn the things that I put into these courses right here. So if you guys want, you guys can check out the courses. Mastering stocks can be challenging and hard, but I try to put it all in one place, and I do recommend getting it. It's literally $4.99 to master stocks, and honestly, you can make your money back first day. We also have Zero Side Hustle Starter Pack. If stocks just ain't working out for you guys, I gave you guys some other ideas and options to do. So honestly, check out the course if you guys want. If not, it's okay, but thank you anyway. So yesterday, there's a meeting and Trump downplays tariff talks and basically saying we don't have to sign deals. Within this meeting, a lot has happened. We're going to be going through all of it right now. So tariff enforcement, President Trump reaffirmed his commitment to maintaining tariffs on Canada imports, including 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum and 10% tariffs on energy products. He also dismissed any possibility of lifting these tariffs. And of course, Trump brought up Canada becoming the 51st state. It's kind of just like he just been talking about this a lot and honestly just saying that he wants it so much. But basically, Prime Minister firmly responded that Canada is not for sale, basically saying that it's never going to happen. Canada's response, so retaliations. In response to U.S. tariffs, Canada has imposed its own tariffs on a range of American goods, including automobiles, energy products, and fertilizers. These measures aim to counteract the economic impact of the U.S. tariffs on Canada. So everybody knows the market reaction. So ongoing trade tensions have led to volatility in financial markets, with basically investors being very, very cautious and just low sentiment. I mean, we have like over $7 trillion just sitting in cash for a lot of investors. And honestly, man, the markets are going a little bit further down, as we can see. If we bring up TradingView, just we have been kind of in a lower trend, and also just low volume too. So we haven't really been moving too much, but we have been consistently moving downwards for the past 3 days, and you might even be able to see it today. But we might be able to make or break this level. We might be able to go upwards and or downwards. But we do have some other bad news in the market, basically saying that our trade, nobody's really buying from the US. And overall, I think we've been down 47% within the trade. So people are saying the Fed rate cuts can look like be on the 90-day pause. And also there's a 97% chance that we're just going to hold the rates. So keep that in mind for tonight at 2 p.m. That's 2 hours before market closes. We also have some bad news for Tesla. The EV sales fall 6%. So keep that in mind for Tesla going downwards even more, especially with the market sell-off. You might see it go down a decent amount. EU considers tariffs on Boeing jets. So if you guys are investing in the Boeing and or want to play a short play, I do recommend Boeing, but also just be patient, see how it opens, because they might even look past this news somehow. Volvo cars recall over 400,000 US vehicles over the rear view camera issue. So honestly, look at Volvo to the downside. A lot of recalls can bring the stock down, but only for the short term. So right now we're kind of 50-50 with the trade. So basically saying that futures rise with US-China trade talks, but at the same time, we did just get Trump kind of pushing it down, basically saying that we don't have to make deals. But that's not really him saying that we're not going to make deals, but it just brings bad certainty into the stock market overall. So next, earnings. So if you guys want to take a screenshot, you guys can, but we did have AMD. We're going to be talking about AMD and Rivian a little bit later, but AMD, Rivian, Supermicro, some other stocks. And right before market open, we got Uber, Walt Disney, Unity, and some other ones. We can be looking at those a little bit tomorrow. And also, last but not least, the FOMC meeting, just like I said earlier, 2 hours before market closes, 2 p.m. So keep that in mind, especially when Jerome comes out, because that's when the market's really going to move. We basically already know that they're going to keep rates, but people are waiting on what he's going to say. So honestly, if you guys have the time, I recommend watching it and just watching the markets move as he talks, because you might be able to get a play in. And we also got consumer credit 1 hour before market closes. So keep that in mind too. So some stocks to watch. First off is Apple. Apple has been moving pretty decently, but I also just kind of just staying still. I do want to see if it breaks that 200. We already kind of broke it pre-market, but honestly, yesterday we did have a big sell-off. So I really want to see how it opens. And if we can maintain above that 200 and make some levels upwards, maybe we can get back up to that 203 to that 204 level, maybe even 206 if we're lucky, but that's only if we get good news. So some levels to look at for Apple overall, look at that 201.5. 202, 203.5, 205, 206.5, 208, and that 210 level. Just look at these. These are potential to bounce off, and or once it breaks, you might see a big breakthrough. To the downside, look at that 200, of course. If we break below that, look at 199, 197, 194.5, and then all the way down to that 193 to that 190 level for Apple. Next stock is going to be iBit. Why? Because Bitcoin just hit 97,000 once again. We're coming back up. So just be very, very patient with Bitcoin, of course, but iBit is one stock to trade because it is an ETF that moves with Bitcoin. If you want to make some great plays with some option plays, make a decent amount of money, and you don't have to risk too much money, I recommend trading iBit. But also MSTR. Why? Because they have a big holding in Bitcoin. Their business honestly doesn't really do too much, and we've seen with the earnings they dropped like a lot basically from the surprise. But it's basically how much Bitcoin they're holding. That's how much money they're really making. So look at MSTR. If Bitcoin goes up, MSTR is going to go up. If Bitcoin goes down, MSTR is going to go down. And sometimes, and only sometimes, it moves with the SPY. So keep that in mind. But some levels to look at for MSTR is that 400, 405, 410, and then that 420 level to the upside. To the downside, look at 395, 392, 390, 385, and that 380 level. And then below that, look at 375. So just be very, very patient, especially playing MSTR. If we go down here, look at some options. They're pretty expensive, so you can make a lot of money, but you can also lose a lot of money. So next one I recommend looking at is Alibaba. It's a Chinese stock, but with the tariff and trade war, this can really affect Baba's earnings and just overall stock price. So we have been kind of rallying a little bit, but honestly kind of lost some steam with Donald Trump kind of saying some bad things. So some price levels to look at for Baba. So watch the 125 if we break above that or below that. But to the upside first, look at that 126.9, 129, and then the highs around 130, and then past that 132.5 and that 135. To the downside, look at that 124.5, 123, 121, and that 120 level to the downside for Baba. Just be very patient, just like I say for every single stock. Just be patient, man, please. Next one we're going to look at is Tesla, just because of the sales and everything like that. So to the downside, look at 276, 274, 271.5, and that 270 level. Below that, look at 268 and 265. To the upside, look at that 280. If we break above that, 282.5, 285, and then all the way up to that 290 level. Now let's talk about some earnings. So AMD, we beat by 1% with the earnings, and then the revenue we beat by 4.5%, which did okay. But honestly, almost instantly and or sometime afterwards, we filled the gaps back downwards, and now we're kind of just trading at around the same levels. But for AMD, I do recommend looking at that $100 level. If we stay above that, look at 102, 104, and then that 105 level, and then the highs of 106, and then 110. To the downside, which I think we might see a little bit of a sell-off, a little bit, especially maybe at market open. Look at that 99, 98, 96.5, and that $95 level. But honestly, man, just look at these ranges right here. So the 96 and then all the way up to that 105 level. And then we come all the way down to that $96 level and we don't break past that and we kind of start rebounding a little bit. Got some good volume, some good momentum upwards. You could play yourself a little call option and maybe make a decent amount of money. And the same to the upside. Look at the highs of that 106. If we go up to 106 and we don't really see any movement past that, we can see a sell-off and you play a put option. But for the put option, I do recommend don't holding this too long. But for the call option, you can probably hold it a little bit longer. The downside risk is kind of low, but the upside risk is even higher. So honestly, just be very, very patient. Just like I said with every single thing, I repeated that like probably 10, 20 times. Next one is Rivian. Rivian beat by almost 50% with the earnings. And then the revenue beat almost by 25%, which is great numbers. But honestly, we kind of just had like one big 5-minute candlestick upwards and then one big candlestick downwards. So be very patient with Rivian, see which way it moves, and you can probably get in to the momentum, and or we might just be consolidating and just kind of bouncing around these ranges. But overall, I think the stock market is kind of like a kangaroo bouncing up and down, not really showing a constant bullish trend and or constant bearish trend. We are kind of still looking a little bit bearish, but with that 9-day win streak, we are looking a little bit better. But we also have Bezos lead new investment in AI data company. And you guys know sometimes AI gets you some great revenue. With that being said though, thanks for watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new. check out the courses below. You guys will benefit off of that and make a lot of money. Peace out.